still true, but in England and a lot of places, men were important and not women. And so in my grandma's life, there was her two sisters and there was a brother who died on Christmas Day when he was 25. And then there was baby twins who someone came to see them, had whooping cough, breathed over them, and they died with their children. So there was a big sorrow because the men didn't survive. And so when my grandmother had children, she only wanted a boy. So she had 3 girls, then she finally got a boy, Kenny, so he was the favorite. Then there was my mother, and then there was another boy. Well, the youngest one was a boy, Eddie. Well, he was wonderful, right? So my mother was taught that boys were what was important. If you were a girl, you were there to work, and the boys, they were the special ones. So anyways, so my father comes from a family of 10 children, and 2 of them were girls. The oldest child was a girl, and she died as a baby. And then there was 3 boys, and then one of the brothers died, and so only 1 girl survived to adulthood, and then 7 brothers. So anyways, in my dad's family, there was lots of boys. It didn't matter so much to him that, if you were a boy or a girl. But anyways, in my mother's family, it's very important to have boys. So she got pregnant with her first child, a daughter. She got pregnant with her second child, a daughter. She got pregnant with her 3rd child, a daughter. Oh, so by this time she was very upset and she cried. And my father said, and that was me, of course. And my father said, "Oh, I like girls, it's okay." So then she was all right. Unfortunately, she didn't tell me this till I was 9 years old. But I always held that against her. That was very painful for me. I would say she should not have told me that story, at least not when I was still a child. But it explained to me why I didn't really like her too much, even though I loved her, and she was very loving to me and kind to me. But because she'd done that when I was a child, like that, a baby, I always resented her for many years. Anyways, so also that was when I was 9. And also, when I was 9, we adopted my foster brother. And he was a great sorrow in our lives. I think now probably he was autistic, but at that time they didn't know what that meant. He hardly spoke. I think he was about 8 years old before he ever gave me a full sentence. Anyways, when he became a teenager, he got into drugs, and he was a great sorrow to my parents. And then when he turned 21, he became schizophrenic. So it was very painful for my parents and for our family. And when I was a teenager, he was so painful to be around at dinner that I'd always have a knot in my stomach, because whatever my mother had made him, it was always fine. Oh, this is terrible. Oh. So you didn't really want to be there, so I was very glad to get married when I was in my early 20s and move away from home because he was so painful to be around. My dad, the kindest man you could ever meet, still helps out with Chris. Anyways, but my mother, not only was she a loving, very sweet lady, but she was also very controlling. And I had 2 older sisters, so they were very controlling. So I was just thinking about this actually yesterday, and I was thinking maybe that's why I have trouble speaking, because if you've already got 3 women who speak all the time, there's not much of a chance for you to get to speak, and you're the little one, so you can't speak as well as them, right? And when I was fortunate when I was a child, because our grandmother, the English grandmother, she came to live with us. And because I was quiet and would sit on her knee because I was little, we were really good friends, and she would say to me when I started playing the piano, "Oh, Janice, you'll be the best." And I thought, something I can do that I can be the best in, because my older sisters are better than everything else. I mean, especially the house cleaning and the cooking, and so it was very exciting for him when we got married, because he hadn't been allowed in the kitchen, and I hadn't really either, so I had to get everything out of a cookbook and learn how to cook, really. And a funny thing happened when we were first married. We lived in a new college dorm, and it was a brand new stove and oven. So I was going to impress my dad and cook him a roast. And so we put the roast in. An hour goes by, 2 hours go by. We're thinking, what's the problem here? Well, finally I said, Dad, it's not cooking. And he tried to get it to turn on. He couldn't get it to turn on either, but he bought me an electric knife. Remember when they were very popular? I got that for my wedding. And so he cut it all up and would fry it on top of the stove. And anyway, so the thing was is that even the people at the dorm, they had to come in and change things to get it to work. So it wasn't just that I didn't know how to cook, that it was, that was the problem.